Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and basically what I want to do today is talk about Go in Rust, of course, because it's part of the 100 days of Go in Rust. I think this is day 13, so we still have a long way to go. There's still a lot left to learn by the time we're done with this whole series. I will be a much better Rust Go programmer when it's all said and done. But today we're going to go revisit the whole idea of modules, okay? So whether it's Go or Rust, like how do I set up my project to be able to use like multiple files? Okay, we kind of did this with Go before, but I'm going to make a new folder called Go mod. Okay, to be just to go through the process. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to close all this. And the way this would work is I would go in the folder, open the terminal, and I would say go mod init, and then I'm going to give it a namespace. The namespace typically is like your GitHub, the GitHub repo you plan on pushing this to. So generally you want to create the GitHub repo first, so that way you have a repo name. So it would be theoretically, it would be like github.com/ your username, alexmercedcoder, then the repo name. Okay, and that would be your namespace. Okay, so this module has that name. The reason is because you're typically going to use modules, third-party modules, and then usually it knows where to download the third-party module based on its GitHub repo name. So that's why the modules are often named that way. Okay, as an example, we did use it before. So you see here I created like a Go mod in a previous lesson. I called my namespace was just this, which I'm going to do again. But you see like this one, github.com, the username, and it was from a repo called list. So that's how I knew to download that particular module from that URL when we installed it. Okay, so going back over here. So I'm going to just use that same thing again. So we just say alexmercedcoder.com /go mods. Again, it really doesn't matter because I'm not going to actually use version control at alexmercedcoder.com. This is just an example. Okay, so it created a new Go mod. So I have this Go mod that is, again, think of it like if you've used Node before, it's like your package.json. If you've used Ruby before, it's like your gem file. If you've used Python before, this is like your pip file or your requirements.txt. It's a thing that tracks your dependencies and tracks sort of your project name and all that stuff. Okay. And then what you would do is if I want to install something, I would just say go get, and then I would put in the name of the module, which again, that would be something like this. So I would go find the name of the module, okay, and then type in go get that, and that's going to add it to my Go mod. So if I were to install this same library again, copy, I would just type in go get and then hit paste, and then it will install it. Takes a second because it's the first time, and you see it creates this Go mod. Go mod plays the same role that package.lock plays in Node. Okay, I mean go.sum does. Okay, this is like the deterministic dependencies file. Okay, but see, like I installed the library, it's there, and now I could theoretically use it. Now the cool thing about like Go, it works kind of like Ruby, where when you install it, you're kind of installing it globally, so it's quicker like on subsequent installs, because it'd be like, oh, okay, you've already downloaded this particular version of the library before, so in that case we'll just use that one. So it tells you what version of Go you're using, the whole sort of Megillah. Okay, now then I would create my file. Generally you always want to start with the main.go, because technically everything always revolves around the main function. So it'd be like func main. Okay, and right now it doesn't do anything. As expected package, yeah, you're supposed to always start with package main, and then for now I'm going to import fmt. Okay, and then I have to use fmt, so fmt.println hello world. Okay, and then technically there I have my basic setup. So instead of running the file though, I want to run the file with all the other files. So whenever I want to use this, instead of doing go run main.go, I'm going to do go run dot. That means just like run this folder. So then I'm going to get hello world. It's going to look for the main function, but all the other files are now within scope. So for example, if I wanted to create a function in this file, so new file, cheese.go. Okay, and I'll just define a function in here. So I'll also import fmt in here. It'll be part of the main package. So you gotta do this whole deal again. Package main. And then I will create a function called cheese. And it's got to be uppercase in name. Anything uppercased, anything that has an uppercase name is exported. Okay, so you don't have to write like the word export or anything like that. Just by the fact that it has an uppercase name, it is exported for use in other files. So func cheese, it's real straightforward. fmd top print line cheese. Okay, so there's that. Okay, and since they're both part of the same package, I don't really have to import anything. So in my main.go, I should be able to just use cheese. Okay, it should just work because again, it's in the same folder. So they're part of the same package. So it should just work. Yeah. Okay. Now if I created another folder, so I call this like utils. Okay, and then we'll create another thing in there. New file boop.go. This is technically no longer part of the main package. This would be part of package utils, the name of the folder. Okay. And then I'll import fmt. And then we'll create a function called boop. Func boop. Boop. What am I thinking? Doot fmt dot print line boop. Okay. So now in this case, this is where I always get confused. Let's just double check this out. I shouldn't need to import. I should be able to just use it, but I still need to import it. So let's do this with the parentheses. fmt. And then I think I would import /utils, I think. Or is it just /utils? I think so, that's the case. Okay. What if I do utils? Nope. Yeah, that's not gonna work. I think here's where I have to use this. Control C. I always get confused in this part. /utils. Yep, okay. And then technically what would happen is I have to be like utils dot boop. And that looks like it clears out. Okay. Yep, and then that works. So because basically it knows that this package is this, so I go from there and I can use any sub-utils, any subfolders that way. So I can use any sub-packages. But again, you gotta remember that always this last piece becomes the namespace that's used in here. So I'm using this, this becomes utils, and then all the functions defined in that utils package are all, you know, within that namespace. So that's how that works in Go. Okay, so that's good. Now let's take a look at Rust. Okay, so let's create now for Rust I don't think I have to create a new folder because it will for me. So let me be back in the normal terminal. So let's just close all of this and then turn that off for now. Okay, and then here there's something called cargo. Cargo, think of cargo as what npm is for Node. Okay, it's that command line software to start up new projects, install libraries, manage dependencies, all this fun stuff. So there's cargo. So we're going to create a new cargo project. So you can't just start making some Rust files and be able to use multiple files. You want it in the context of a cargo project. So you do cargo new in the same way we did mod init. Okay, cargo new, we'll just say this will be like Rust mod. And you can either do lib if you're building a library. So if you're planning to build a library for other people's use, then you use -- lib. Okay, if you want to build a binary, so the actual like program, then it's -- bin to create a binary. And then I want no VCS, I think it is. Let me just double check. That means no version control, because by default, it's going to create a GitHub repo. Technically, I'm already inside a GitHub repo, so I don't want to create a GitHub repo. Okay, so let me just go back to where I saw. I think I was at the top of this page right here. Okay, nope. Let's go back over here. Here we go. And VCS none. Okay, so that's what it was, what I need. So it's VCS none. Okay, and then that should create a new folder with my new project. Okay, so you see there, Rust mod. There's my new project. And so you have this cargo.toml file. So that's going to be sort of like the equivalent of your package.json or your gem file or your go mod or etc. Okay, it has all your dependency information. This is using the toml format. Okay, so essentially think of each of these as like a object, like in a sense like a JavaScript object, and then it has a bunch of keys and values inside of it. So in dependencies, you would specify like all the dependencies you plan on using. So you'd be like, okay, I'm going to use, let's pretend you're using a regex library. You'd be like regex equals version 1.0.0. You actually have to type in the dependencies. Okay, like there's no like cargo install, at least not one that I'm aware of yet. Okay, but generally you type in the dependencies there, and when you run or build, so you have two options. You can either do a cargo run, which runs the file once, okay, or you can do a cargo build, okay, and then that's going to build the project, actually compile it. Just depends what you want to do. But that's a cool thing, because before we weren't able to run things. We'd actually always have to compile then run the file when it was just a single Rust file. And then basically the way it works is that all your source code is in this main folder. So we have our main.rs. So there it is. So technically I should be able to just cargo run this and get a hello world. I got to cd into the right folder. So cd rust mod. There we go. Cargo run. Okay, and see, it runs it. Takes a second. It basically compiles it. But the thing is that what happens is that when you run or build, if you have uninstalled dependencies listed in your dependencies, it'll install them. If there are ones that were removed, it'll remove them. So it does that dependency check at the beginning of every run or build. Okay, and then you have your cargo lock file. This was like the mod sum file in Go, or the package.lock in Node. This is where they keep track of like deterministic dependency management. That thing that we generally like. Be glad that it's there. It speeds things up, but it's not something a file you ever have to touch. So really, this is the only file you should be touching, just to add dependencies as you need them. So for example, if I really look up Rust packages, here we go, crates.io. Okay, if I wanted to install a package, like let's say here, rand. Okay, Rust library for random number generation. Okay, so if I wanted to install that, this is what I would copy over here to that, and then when I do go cargo run, see it's updating crates IO index, it's doing the thing. So see, it's fetching the library, and it'll eventually run. Okay, so we'll let it do its thing. And then you read the documentation. Oh, this is giving me too much clarity here. Go to its homepage here. Getting started. Okay, that's always what I'm kind of look for. Like, what's the thing to use it, and then you can kind of like see how it's used in there, and then use it in your project. Okay, I'm going to hit C. I don't really care about that. We're not going to really play with that at the moment, but just to show you, like, that's how you would install a dependency in Rust. So go get for Go. Here you just list them in your cargo.toml, then run cargo build, and it'll install anything that needs to be installed. Okay. Now the other big thing is like, how would I use other files? Okay, so let's say I wanted to create like a utils folder for like putting like utility functions, things like that. Okay. First thing I would want to kind of announce is you have to announce, these are referred to as modules. So basically, like when you have something in another file, it's going to be referred to as a module. Okay. So essentially the first thing you want to do is always declare the module. So you say mod. Okay. So in this case, we're going to say mod utils. Okay. And that just means we're using a module called utils. Okay. And this is just going to be in our, this says librs because that's if you did a library. Since we decided to do a binary, that's the main.rs it's going to create as the main file, where the main thing is located. Okay, but what it'll look for is a file called utils. Okay, .rs. So if I were to create a new file, utils.rs, and then I were to create a function in there, so function cheese print line cheese. Okay. And then I go back over here. And then I should be able to just say, I think it's like utils dot cheese. And then actually main.rs. I think I have to declare that as public. So pub mod hosting. Okay. Create house. Well, here they're going to show you how to create the folder. So let's just go skip to that. But let me just try that out real quick. Let me just see how they eventually end up using it. For the house hosting. Okay. So I think at this point I should be able to just do this cargo main.rs. Let's try that utils.cheese. And I forgot, is it lowercase? Yeah. Let's try that out. Cargo run. Okay. Help use a path separator. Ah. That's right. It's the rust. We have to use that. Okay. Okay, the function cheese is defined here. Function cheese is private. Okay, so I think we have to throw the word pub in front of it. That's generally what it means for public. I always just forget like where the pubs go. So let me just see if it actually makes that suggestion in there. Okay. And it works. Yeah. Okay, so that's all you'd have to do. Okay, at minimum. I can declare the mod, then I make a file with the same name, and then anything I want to be used has to be preceded by pub. Okay, but what if I want it to be a whole folder? Okay, this is where I'd have to then make like a pub. Okay, let's just see how they did that. Okay, if I wanted to make like subfolders. The way they did it, so in like the utils we would do pub function pub mod hosting. Okay, and source front of rs. Yep. Front pub mod hosting. Oh, I see. Okay. So then here, what I would do is I would just do like pub mod and I would declare module and become a module of that. So you start getting this like chain. Like if I wanted to declare like a submodule and a submodule, I would declare another pub, another util. So we'll call this like utils2. Okay. And then what would happen is I'd have to create a folder, new folder called utils, because it has to be a folder with the name of the module that it's a sub module in, and in there I would create a thing called utils2. Okay, .rs, and in there I can declare like the pub function cheese print line cheese. Okay, let's see here. Let's see if we use that right. If I go back to main, so now it would be utils slash utils2 cheese, because this is the module, the sub module, and then the function in that sub module. Okay. Not found in utils utils2. To create module use, create a file. Source utils utils2. Did I do that? Oh, I didn't spell it right. Rename utils2. Okay, let's try that again. And it works. Okay, so that's how you would do that. Again, basically you declare the module, and in those modules you can declare sub-modules, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So that's how you would do that in Rust if you want to break things down into multiple sort of sections and folders for your project. But aside from that, that is how, again, managing packages and modules works in Go and Rust. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. My name is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. Have a great day and enjoy.